Okay, everybody, welcome to my next start. Thanks everybody for joining. As I said, the recording will be made available after the session is finished. If you've got any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat window, or I will leave my email address at the end of the session, and please feel free to get in touch with me directly. So who am I? My name is Andrew Freeman. I'm the Director of ICT Services at St. Bede School. E-safety is something I am really passionate in. About keeping the students and staff safe online is one of my key sort of job roles. This is the second session I've done already today. I was in a local primary school this afternoon, and I have done a year 3 and 4 session, and a 5 and 6 session, and a session with parents. So, brief introduction. E-safety. So E on the E-safety stands for electronic. Bit of introduction. Early use of computers have shown that improve language skills, promote student social development and creativity, and once the school internet usage starts to increase. Personally, I see E-safety similar to sort of crossing the road. As a young child, your son or daughter, you assisted them crossing the road, so you lay down the ground rules, you told them what to do, stop at the end of the road, look left, look right, no cars are coming, then you cross. I believe e-safety is very, very similar. Adults and yourselves, teachers, parents, etc. help children and teach them the rights and wrongs about the internet and e-safety. Eventually, as families, you trust your son or daughter to be able to cross the road correctly, and that's where I see e-safety being on a similar scale. We lay down our ground rules. We have rules as a family. We put things in place that we tell students, or we tell sons and daughters what not to do on the internet, and we hope for them to remember. It's not always the case, unfortunately, but we hope that we drill it in as much as we can, and a little bit of common sense would allow our sons and daughters to be safe online. The internet is an ever-changing, constantly changing, evolving thing. It's a living beast in theory. It's a busy place. Within the last 25 seconds, these things have happened on the internet. 264 blog posts, 245 new members have run on the Facebook, over nearly 15,000 tweets sent on Twitter, viewed on YouTube, etc. Things that we teach our students here at St. Bede's about e-safety now would not have been around 6 months ago. Likewise, in 6 months' time, there's things then that is not have been available now. So as much as we can, we try and refresh our e-safety needs for our students here at St. Bede's, as well as the staff. It's also important that we let the staff know the messages also, because ultimately the staff will cascade that information down to students in assemblies, in tutor briefings, etc. This is information from 2012. It's the top 10 activities carried out at least once a week by certain age groups. As you can see, the older the child gets, the more use that they have on the internet. Schoolwork, homework. A lot of students here have access to a PC in his home, and I think that has a knock-on effect with the quality of students' homework. But we also provide access to the internet, to the computers inside the school for those students who may not have access at home, or may have limited access at home. But for also doing educational benefits, there's also recreational benefits, also listening to music, watching videos on YouTube, etc. Even watching catch-up TV on things like BBC iPlayer. Online games is also something that has an educational benefit for some students. Whether that's even just from a reading point of view, it doesn't really make any difference whether students are reading books, newspapers, comics, or the internet. They're all reading. They're constantly reading and improving their reading and their skills. We do these sessions a few times with parents, and we tend to get the similar sort of feedback from parents. So things like, I've had a look if they call me over, but I don't really know what I'm looking at. I'm frightened of the internet and I have no idea what my kids are doing when they're on it. What would I need a computer for really? The kids use it for school, but not me. I get so worried about what they might see that I don't feel happier if they just don't use it at all. These things are, from my point of view, a little concern, a little worrying. I'd like as much as we can to involve the parents and the parents to oversee what their child is doing on the internet. I think that's played some major role because a lot of parents are giving a lot of trust to um, young children, young adults, and I think to give them that trust, you need to know what goes on the internet, whether that's the dangers or the benefits, etc. So what are our sons and daughters doing on the internet? Social networking. So anybody not familiar, that's your Facebooking, your Twitter, etc. Online gaming, chatting. So Skype, Facebook Messenger, FaceTime, etc. All such facilities. Downloading films and music. I have a slight concern with this. Not necessarily just about the legal copyright, downloading music albums, downloading videos, etc. It's really about the websites that these films are getting downloaded from. These websites are containing inappropriate adverts, inappropriate content. Just because somebody has uploaded a film to a website, the student thinks they're getting that latest film. Unfortunately, what may happen is the wrong inappropriate film may have been uploaded. Your son or daughter may download this inappropriate film onto their computer. And also the benefits: homework research, reading skills, and learning new ICT skills. We find now at St Bede's a massive gap between now and probably 5 years ago. The type of skills that students are coming into St Bede's in September with is absolutely phenomenal. That is down to primary schools, so support the primary school teachers, but also I believe the access to facilities at home, whether that's iPads, mobile phones, PCs, Macs, etc. Students are picking up skills all of the time. So down to the sort of, I suppose, the unsavoury part of the internet. So what issues could be affecting your children? I'm not saying they are affecting your children, but these are the major issues that we do come across day to day. So inappropriate content, that is websites which have violence, poor language, and all inappropriate content for certain age groups of students and children. Cyberbullying, I will touch on later on. Online grooming, which I'll also touch on later on. Sexting is something quite new. It's only really been around, the terminology's only been around since probably last year. Online reputation. This is not so much for younger age students at the minute, but certainly into the future as they get older, but even yourselves as parents. Online reputation. You have a reputation online, whether that's your Facebook or other profile, that may, I suppose, come back to haunt you. Applying for jobs, for example, is an easy one. I'm not saying this is what will determine the fact of whether you get a job or don't get a job, but what a future employee may do is, if yourself and another person is very, very close on the shortlisting, they are able to, if your Facebook profile is not locked down, access your Facebook profile and see a bit of a sort of history or a bit of background from yourselves. Similar to sort of students at an older age at St Bede's, whether that's the sixth form or year 11. Colleges, and whether they do or they don't, but colleges will be able to access your son or daughter's Facebook page if it's not protected, and see what sort of things in the life of your son or daughter goes on. But even things like celebrities or sportsmen, I've seen instances in the newspaper where sportsmen have lost sponsorship deals because of the things that they posted on social networking sites. For example, I think 2 or 3 years ago there were some up and coming tennis players who had sort of multi-million-pound sponsorship deals in place for ready when they sort of hit the big time. What was sort of seen to be happening, they said they were going out quite regularly, sort of drinking, socialising on a weekend. The Nikes, the Reeboks, the Adidas, etc. didn't want to be linked with somebody who sort of abuses these sort of facilities, or to be sort of seen as somebody who they sponsor, who are sort of going out actively sort of drinking, etc. Privacy and identity theft. This is something quite key on online shopping. So credit card theft is a major issue, not so much with your students, but obviously yourselves. Online banks are putting as much sort of steps in as they can to prevent online fraud, but there's only so much they can do. And online pornography. also. So social networking, what a basically social network is, for those that don't know, is a platform to talk about things, to talk with friends, to communicate with people. What is quite key, the school I was at this afternoon, we did a bit of a show of hands, and from say the 50-60 students that we spoke to, there was around about 20 students who put their hand up to say they had a Facebook profile. The worrying thing is, to actually create a Facebook profile, you've got to say that you're over the age of 13. So there's a tick box there as part of the process. You tick the box and you then say, I agree, I'm over the age of 13. You can then create the account. That is something that Facebook have put in place because of American law. Facebook, if they had the option, they had the choice, they would allow absolutely everybody to have a Facebook account. Reason being is they make money through advertising. The more people who have a Facebook profile, the more money that they're going to generate through advertising. 5, 6, 7 years ago, the major concern was children downloading inappropriate material. Unfortunately, now it's the content that they are uploading, it's the information that they're making available on a public profile on Facebook. I did mention today also to the students, if you do have to have a Facebook profile, whether it's just communicating with friends or family who are long distance, please make sure that your profile is protected and locked down. That way, only your friends who you added to your profile will be able to view the things that you're posting, your photographs, etc. Something else I would recommend you doing as well is you as a parent, if you're quite happy for your son or daughter to have a Facebook profile, then please create a Facebook profile for yourself if you do not have one. That way you can get your son or daughter to add you to their profile, and you'll be able to sort of keep an eye on what things they're posting, who they've befriended, etc. Children will not post inappropriate messages when they know that the parents aren't watching them. Gaming is a really big thing, more so in males, but certainly some girls do participate in online gaming. Issue that we found in primary schools is the type of age content that some of these games are, and some of the content that or some of these games have been accessed by students at 7, 8, 9, 10 year old. The games have an age rating for a reason, whether that's 15 or 18, most generally for violence, the language, the use of weapons, etc. What makes it difficult for other families is if a student in a school of age 9 or 10 or 11 has been given a game by their parent. It then makes a difficult conversation for another parent when their son or daughter then says, well, Johnny has the game, why can't I have the game? So it makes it slightly difficult. I suppose it's peer pressure at the end of the day. So grooming is a major issue, not just for us at St. Bede's. It does happen, but it happens across the country, across the world. Grooming is where strangers will try and befriend children of your young age. The message that we try to get across to students is people do lie on the internet, and it's probably even easier to lie on the internet than it actually is face to face. What they tend to do, they look for open Facebook profiles. They look to see what the young people are interested in, what the likes are, what the hobbies are. What they tend to do is to start this communication channel, and whatever is, say for example, a boy of age 12 hobby is, this person will magically have the same interest, the same hobby, and that's how they sort of get in. They get in through sort of a link that way. That's how they attempt to gain the trust. That's how they befriend the students. Not always, but we find a lot of students who sort of chat to strangers online have possible social issues in school, or not a lot of friends, and these people befriend them, give them a lot of encouragement, I suppose, say that the pictures are nice, say a lot of positive things about them, and I think people will talk to these sort of people because they're getting some praise, they're getting some really nice messages. The issue we have in the UK is a lot of this grooming happens from outside of the UK. So they come from America, Australia, Turkey, Africa. and they'll target UK-based young people. What they would then do is they know that the police have difficulties in tracking them down, so the police can only govern what goes on in the UK. Anything that happens outside the UK, the police have then got to pass on to the authorities in the other countries. That is when possible breakdowns happen, and these people can't be traced and can't be stopped. A lot of feedback I get from students is these things don't happen here. They don't happen in this country. It's all in America. It's all on the TV. It's all in the movies. Unfortunately, that's not the case. As you may be aware, Ashley Hall was a girl in Sedgefield about 4 or 5 years ago. Ashley befriended someone on the internet. What you believe was somebody her own age. It was a 32-year-old man. Ashley, I think the police revealed, had social difficulties, didn't have a lot of friends, and used to go at home and chat to this sort of man on a regular basis. Ashley arranged to meet up with this man. I think she went over to Manchester. Unfortunately, this man killed Ashley. So sexting is something new that hasn't been around for a long time, but the more and more students that have mobile phones, the new technologies of mobile phones, this we are seeing to be quite high priority. So basically what it is it's children taking pictures on their mobile phone and sending them to other people, whether that's people they know, people they don't know. Unfortunately, once a picture has been sent, they have no control of the messages or pictures. They can't recall the messages. Once they've gone out into the wild, they could then be sort of Chinese whispers or Chinese chain letters and passed on and passed on and passed on. So one picture that's sent to one person could ultimately be put on an inappropriate website, could be sent within groups of men, groups of women, groups of children, and that picture then gets out of hand. What the students today didn't realise as well is cyberbullying and sexting is actually a criminal offence. Even if your son or daughter under the age of 18 was actually to send a picture of themselves, they are still actually committing a criminal offence because they're actually instigating the passing on of these inappropriate images. So cyberbullying is probably evolved over the years, from even as near as sort of 5 to 10 years ago. Bullying used to take place in the school playground, in the park, on the way home from school. Unfortunately, through the advances of technology, the internet, etc., cyberbullying can take place anytime, anywhere. Unfortunately now the students don't have a safe haven of being at home, away from the bully, because bullying can take place on a PC, on an iPad, on a mobile phone, etc. They can be bullied at any time. The bully can get to the person being bullied all of the time. Cyberbullying also plays a major issue because there's a larger audience. That could be something that's been videoed, uploaded to Facebook, uploaded to YouTube, etc. It then sort of snowballs and snowballs and snowballs until a lot of people have sort of seen. That could be a fight, there could be name calling, etc. Cyberbullies can also remain anonymous, so it differs from normal bullying because bullies would have to always be face to face. Cyberbullies could be anonymous, so that could be somebody creating a fake profile, a fake account, and will find it difficult to be caught because your son or daughter do not know who's actually spreading those messages. The police again can monitor the use of Facebook. They have sort of levels of access to Facebook who they can sort of see and try and trace where these instances have come from. That's not something that we can do as a school, but any instance that we get regarding cyberbullying, sexting, grooming, etc., we pass on to the police straight away for them to deal with. Pornography. Each day an illegal pornography site is closed. There'll be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, tens of hundreds of sites closed on a daily basis, and unfortunately 5,000 new pornography sites are created each and every day. Every time one's removed, 3 or 4 will be created. That is not necessarily your son or daughter looking for the content. That could be accidentally coming across inappropriate content, whether that's through the use of innocent search words in the search engine or just typing a web address incorrectly. For example, what these companies do, they make the money again from advertising, they get paid per click. What these companies will do, they will buy domains that are very, very similar to popular domains on the internet. So for example, google.com, they would purchase a domain Google with 3 zeros or 3 O's, so Google 3 O's.com. Then anybody incorrectly typing the word Google in would come across as an inappropriate website. So getting familiar with internet jargon. As I said earlier, I think the parents have got a role to play yourselves with protecting your son or daughter, but your son or daughter will withhold as much information from you as certainly possible. The internet, and through the advances of the internet, it's actually created its own language. Nobody uses English anymore on the internet. It's all sort of, I suppose, text speak or text language. I put some things on the screen there. Some things you may have heard of before, others you may not have done. PIR, for example, parent room. What that effectively means is if they're talking to somebody on a chat site, PIR, the chat conversation event suddenly stops. So you looking at the screen, you can't see anything that's going wrong. Similar to POS, parent over shoulder. That's basically a quick sign to stop whatever's sort of taking place, whatever's been writing. Students are using sort of jargon, shortened things, I guess for 3 main things. To avoid or to hide things from parents, but also I suppose for quickness. That is another reason why they're using these sort of short terminologies. If I can give you sort of 4 tips before the end of the session, it's really going to be these 4 to talk to your children about the online activity. I'm not saying you know everything. Nobody will know everything. Your son or daughter may know more about the internet than you do. But if you engage and you talk to your son and daughter, you will learn a lot more. I think if you show an interest, your son or daughter will share a lot more of the dangers or what they've come across on the internet with yourselves. I would encourage them to use browser tools, so I've put on their bookmarks and history. If there's a website they go on quite often, save that website into their bookmarks. That way they're not going to incorrectly type in the wrong address and come across the wrong website. If it's in the bookmark, if it's the known website they need to go on, click on the bookmark, load the website up, and they're straight on. I would set agreed time limits for internet use. Certainly don't let your son and daughter on a Saturday wake up at 9 o'clock and be on till 9 o'clock at night. Have ground rules in place as you would for a lot of other things, not just on the internet. But please give them 2-3 hours maximum. Let them come off. Something else I put on there as well is to move your PC that may be in your child's bedroom into a family room. Grooming takes place via chat, via webcams. If anybody is talking to your son or daughter on a webcam, and they see a lot of activity in the background with other people walking past, they will soon leave the conversation. They don't want to have other people sort of looking at the conversations. They just want to be speaking to your son or daughter as an individual. If the computer is to remain in the bedroom, I would put a set of ground rules in place that your son or daughter leaves the bedroom door open at all times when they're using the internet. That way, every time you go past, pop your head in and double check to see what they're actually doing online. ISPs, Internet Service Providers, these are the top main 5 in the UK. In the next 6 to 12 months, what the government have insisted is every ISP will have to include filtering as part of their provision to families at homes. What that will do is any inappropriate website will be blocked from accessing from home by default. At the minute, the only filtering system that your son or daughter may come across is in their school. We govern what websites that are available for your son or daughter to use. At home, any website is available. Let's click this button here. Hopefully you'll see my screen. It'll be a web page. For example, this will appear on a lot of these ISPs, whether that's Sky, BT, TalkTalk, etc. But this is an example from BT's page. What you can do is, anybody who has BT as their internet provider, log on to the BT website. You can then enable parental controls. So what that allows you to do is set filter times. So between certain times of the day, access to Facebook, to Twitter, to inappropriate websites are unavailable. There's no software installed to set that up. It's a tick of a box. You log on to your account, tick the box, and that then disables all inappropriate activity from being enabled on your internet connection. Further down, what you'll be able to do as well is just to install software on an individual computer, so you can still have access to um, content on a older brother or sisters or your own PC, but there may be a PC that's dedicated to use by your 9, 10, 11 year old son. You're able to install this software on that one PC, set your limits, whether that's time online, so you can sort of set that within a day's period they can only go on the internet for 2 hours. You can ban social networking, you can ban YouTube content based on the age, but also as well as you can review online usage reports and set up alerts, so you can actually see a log of what your son or daughter has actually been accessing on the internet at any time, and how you can go back up to sort of 3-4 weeks and actually see if there's actually a pattern, if they're going on, if they're lying to you, they're going on social networking sites which you've said not to use. I'm just going back to the presentation. Just to recap on that point as well, the government are insisting that everybody will have filtering in place. You as an individual or you as a parent can opt out of that in a similar way where you can opt in using that other login facility. So you can go onto your BT account and enable access to any sort of website, especially if it's a particular line of work that you're involved with, sort of thing, and you need to access these sort of websites on a day-to-day basis. So conclusion. The internet is a fantastic tool if used appropriately and responsibly. Parents have a role to play in educating the use of the internet with their children. Put some rules in place that govern the use of a family computer, whether that's accessible in a certain room, the length of time that your son or daughter was to go on. But ask questions, find out what they're doing, take interest. The one thing I would please insist that after this session you don't just remove everything. That is not the solution, unfortunately. So when I put on there, it's not just a case of pulling the plug. That is probably a key sort of sentence on this whole sort of presentation. It is about educating, doing the right things, not doing the wrong things. Taking it away, students will find ways to get onto the internet if you remove that access from them. Mobile phones, Xboxes, Nintendo Wii's, even going next door to family and friends' houses, they can still access the internet. But if we all play a role and all provide safeguarding rules and things there, what we say, what you can do and what you can't do, that's the only way they're going to learn. We've whistled through that quite quickly. I am aware if anybody's got any questions, please feel free to put in the chat. If you do not wish to sort of chat in front of everybody else and ask the questions in front of everybody else, I will put my email address in the chat window as well. Please feel free if you've got any concerns, any further questions after the session, or if you're actually watching this session as part of the recording and you're not able to leave the chat, please drop me an email and hopefully I'll have some answers. If you've got any concerns, I'll be able to do a bit of research for you, and I'll give you some information back if you wish to have some further information. Whether that's just a simple question of I use Sky Broadband, can you point me in the right direction where I can use the filter, etc. That's what I'll do. I'll dig that information out for you. I'll send you the link, and you'll be able to log in your own time and add those things. I'll hang out for another couple of minutes, see if there's any questions. But thank you for your time. It's the first time we've done it. If it worked, it's worked great. If it hasn't, we'll look to do it again. We look to build on it. If there's any other sort of topics or any sort of things that we can look to work as a partnership between St. Bede's and the primary schools, we look to do that as well. So Lee's put on a question there saying we'll get a copy of the presentation. I'll make the copy of the presentation available on the page where you found the link to this screen in the next day or two. So please go back to the link, St. Bede's uk/eSafety, and I'll have a link to the presentation on there. Anybody ask me any questions from an email point of view as well, I'll put together a frequently asked questions section on there also, because a lot of parents will have a similar sort of question that they wish to ask. If I've got any answers to any of the questions, I'll make it available so everybody can see also. If anybody wishes to leave now, feel free. Some people still typing a question. I'll hang around, as I say, for another 5-10 minutes and answer any questions I can. But thank you very much for the time, everybody.